Hey folks, Quill18 here, and welcome to Let's Try Evolution Climate. Evolution Climate is one of my absolute favorite board games. It has seen so much play at my house, and it is really fantastic. Now, I have done a video on the digital version of Evolution before, and I think it's very good. The base game is excellent, it's beautiful, and I think the digital adaptation is very well done. However, I haven't played a ton here of Evolution, the digital version of it, because I've been waiting for the climate expansion. Because to me, the climate expansion really makes this game fantastic by adding a lot more kind of variation in each session of play. I think it's really strong. So I'm actually very excited. I got some codes from my friends so that we can add this game to our digital board game night that we've been doing for, well, for the last year and a half or so. So I'm really pumped to actually play more of this because it's been a long time since I've played any Evolution. Now, I have done a video for the base Evolution one. That was an introduction. I will once again be sort of doing the basic introduction to the game rules in here, as well as talking about what Evolution Climate brings to the pool. There's, of course, online play. Local play, you've got campaigns, weekly challenges, pass and play, which is really nice if you're playing this on a, especially tablet play or a laptop. On a computer, it might be a little awkward because technically the cards in your hand are hidden information, so maybe people will have to sort of just look away or step away from the computer while you're taking your turn or something like that. But I love that it's included as a feature. We're just going to jump into AI game over here. I'm going to discard the previous game that I was testing with. And there we go. So there's a variety of different AI difficulties. You can also unlock these specialized AIs that play in a particular way by going through the campaign. But we're just going to be using the regular hard AI over here. And we're playing with climate enabled. So we're going to start the game. Oh yeah, promo cards that you can buy and stuff. No, that's going to be fine. Okay. I thought there were maybe more options. I love the look of this game. I think it's really good. Now, when I hit continue here, a bunch of stuff is going to happen. Don't worry. I'll catch you up on what the deal is. A bunch of different play fields. So apparently here we got kind of an arid looking play field. The play field itself is just visual, so it doesn't change anything. Okay. The point of Evolution is to score the most points, right? The person at the end of the game with the most points wins. The vast majority of the points you're going to earn are going to be from eating food. A lot of vegetable matter, but maybe you'll evolve your creatures into carnivores, and then they will eat other players' critters that way. You will also get a few more points at the end of the game for your population and your traits. More on that later. But the big thing is we want to eat. Now, the largest change that comes with the Evolution Climate expansion is that we now have this temperature chart over here. And it's in the middle of the screen for this phase of the game, then it's going to sort of hide itself in a second here. We start out temperate. The current temperature is marked by this sort of arch over here, which this mimics the physical version of the board game, which has this nice wooden block to put on here. For me, it was a little bit subtle at first to be like, wait, what's the current temperature? I mean, I know it starts temperate. It also tells you over there, but I didn't notice this arch because when it's centered, it wasn't immediately obvious. Once it's over warm or something, it's like, okay, yeah, that's pretty clear what's going on. The temperature of the world will go up and down as we play various cards. And the temperature will affect how much food is available. For example, if the temperature gets a little warmer, there'll be more plant food. If it gets tropical, even more. However, when we get to hot and, God forbid, scorching, there'll be the amount of food will be reduced. Whereas if we go cold, it will always just get worse and worse and worse over here. There's also some special temperature events. We'll talk about that in just a scooch. But there we go. Okay, so the first phase, every round, is we're going to take one of the cards in our hand and play it face down in the middle of the table, and this will be used to generate the pool of vegetable food that's going to be available for us. So you can see each of these cards has a different food value in top left. Well, the cards in my hand are all 2s or a 3 over here, but there could even be negative food cards. Some cards take away from the middle. And it is kind of random. There's multiple versions of pack hunting in the deck. Some might have 6 food, some might have -3 food. There's going to be a miscellaneous number of those in there, so they're not necessarily linked to what's on there. So the first step is everyone will contribute 1 card there. Now, sometimes, especially if you have, unlike me, a range of different food values available, then you will use that to You'll play that strategically, right? You'll make a decision as to which one you play to add a lot of food or less food, and you might optimize your play around that. Here, I don't really have that option. Mostly what I'm going to be looking at is which card do I want to keep in my hand to use for something. Well, I've got 2 copies of Carnivore, so it's going to be pretty tempting to throw one of those away. The other thing is, with the climate expansion, just underneath these food symbols, there's another little symbol. This has a single sun. Over here, we have a single sort of cold symbol. They're hot symbols and cold symbols. Some have multiple, so the scavenger card has triple cold symbols. And what's going to happen is when all the cards get put in the middle, and everyone has taken their turn, at some point we flip over all the cards, which will tell us how much food is in the middle, but we'll also count up all the symbols. And if there's more hot symbols than cold, then the world will become hotter, or vice versa. The actual difference doesn't matter. It can be like 20 cold symbols to 1 hot symbol. We still just move 1 step to the cold, is how that's going to work. Anyway, yeah, I think I'm just going to toss one of these Carnivore cards into the middle, and then I'll show you what the actual sort of play cards phase of the game looks like. So the food cards have been tucked down over there. I get a little nice reminder on the tooltip to remind me what I contributed. So 2 food, 1 warm climate card, but I have no idea what the other players have done. Now, here is our species. At the start of the game, each one of us, well, we always have at least 1 species in front of us all the time. We then play cards. Now, the cards can be played in, I guess, 4 different ways. The first way you can play a card is you can create a new species, either to the left or to the right of your current species. You can never create one in between your others. I think the maximum you can have is 5 active species, I believe. I might be wrong about that, but I think that is the case. So that's one thing. You just burn a card to generate a new species. The other thing you can do, this over here represents the amount of population your species has, and this is its size. You can burn a card to either increase its population or to increase its size if you want. And then finally, you can play the cards for their traits themselves. And in regular evolution, each species is limited to 3 traits. In evolution climate, species can have up to 4 traits. And the reason for that is a bunch of new traits have been added to the game, and there's a lot of traits that interact with the temperature in various ways, and so it was important to have the extra slots available for it. These will do a variety of different things. So foraging, whenever I eat plant food, I get an additional plant food. So I get twice as much food for action, which is kind of nice. Pack hunting, this is great for carnivores. So normally with carnivores, so I could add a carnivore trait to a species. This species will now be a carnivore. It can no longer eat plant food. The only thing it can eat is other species. To eat another species, I have to be larger than it. Pack hunting sort of flips that around because I get to add this species population to its body size. So if I throw pack hunting on here, I've got a population of 1, so it would count as a body of 2 for the purpose of eating other critters. Now, the person over here to my right is the first player, so he's made his moves first, and I know that his species are all going to be quite tiny, which means my carnivore over here will be, and don't have traits that might be defensive. So I actually should be able to eat quite a lot of stuff from this guy over here with my carnivore without making him particularly large. Body size is basically only used to determine combat. It does have an interaction with the temperature as well. If it gets too hot, large creatures start to die off. If it gets too cold, small creatures start to die off. But the biggest thing is probably in terms of interacting with carnivores. So the bigger your carnivore is, the easier it is for it to eat other creatures. However, you need to get 1 unit of food for each population you have. If you have unfed population at the end of the entire round, the unfed population will die off. But you can also only feed up to the amount of population you have, and food is points. So what you want is you want as much population as possible, so that you can eat as much food as possible, so you can score as many points as possible. On the flip side, though, you might want more species. Each species comes with its own population, so that's more stuff that can eat, which is pretty good. But you also get to draw more cards. You draw, I think it's 3 cards plus 1 per species. Is that right? It did not start with 5. Oh, no, sorry. It must be 1 extra. It must be 4 plus 1 per species. We put 1 into the food bank. That's what it was. 4 plus 1 for every species you have. So if you have more species, you can draw more cards. So getting more species out as early as possible is really strong, assuming it doesn't bite you in the ass. What I might do is I might split a little over here. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 1 extra species, but I'm going to add 1 extra population to my carnivore. Because this carnivore will then be able to eat twice, will count as size 3. I should be able to kill off a couple of species from my opponent. If nothing else, I could probably boop a couple of these over here, and that seems like a really good thing. So we're going to do that, but then I'll have 1 extra species here to eat some vegetable food. So I'll call that. Whether or not that was the best, strongest opening turn, I don't know, but it is what I'm going to do. Now, my opponents don't know what traits I've added over here. That is hidden. The population and size is certainly visible. So normally if you see someone that get their size bigger, that can be a tell that they may be making a carnivore, but it's not always the case. Okay, it's gotten a little bit warmer. So there's going to be extra food in the middle, which, as a carnivore, I don't really care how much food is in the middle, and this species is going to eat pretty quickly. Getting warmer can be bad as things get bigger. Okay. So, he's got climbing. Yeah, sorry, I want to finish my thought here, but I was like, wait, what is that trait? When you make a carnivore, generally speaking, you want to make your person bigger, which means oftentimes you're scared of it getting hotter. So what this means at tropical, species of size 5 or 6, 1 of them will get killed. At species with size 3 to 6, 2 of them will be killed. So generally, as carnivores, you're afraid of it getting too hot because you tend to be bigger. That's very different, though, with pack hunting. So I want to make sure there's still food for this guy to eat when it comes to my turn. There's still 8 food left. No one's got anything, as far as I can tell, that is going to help them eat food faster. So I think what I can do, I can just eat with my carnivore this turn, and then I'll still have the ability to eat some plant over here. Do I care who I eat from? I don't know. What I'm going to do is I'm going to eat one of this guy's species because he's got the most out there. So we're going to eat him. Nom nom nom. That counts as 1 food. These guys are going around feeding. Actually, you know what? I can still... They're not going to eat the rest of the food. This guy's still going to be able to eat just fine. So I'm going to go and eat a second species. Yeah, to attack the Mud Wallower, I would need to discard a card, which I don't have, so I can't do that. This one's got Hard Shell, so he counts as much bigger, so I can't eat him. Hibernation. Starvation. He's got the Hard Shell over here. So, I don't know. Rather than just pick on this guy, I'll eat something from one of these others. I don't know who... You know what? This one here might be the more annoying because he's going to be harder to eat later on, so I'm going to go ahead and punish him now by eating that species. And what I didn't want to do is eat anyone who'd already eaten some food. They actually made a mistake by eating with the hard-shelled one over here. And when it gets to the point where the feeding is, like, obvious, that there's no real choices left, it does go into an auto-feed thing, which saves a lot of time and is very nice. Yeah, he should have eaten with the species that wasn't defended, because even if the species died, you still get to bank that food. So I'm not afraid of it becoming tropical, although I don't benefit from the food too much. I could go and hurt the primarily plant-eating species by reducing the amount of food by playing this card. Intelligence is quite cool, though, because it can do 2 things. For a carnivore... So either way, I discard a card to activate intelligence. And if I'm a carnivore, I can ignore defensive traits, so I can ignore hard shell, because I'm smart enough to, I don't know, knock the creature over and attack from the soft underbelly. Or if you're non-carnivore, you can just discard a card to just find 2 food. Intelligence really gives you a lot of flexibility for getting around problems. That is quite interesting. I could have cooperative feeders that go there. I could throw fat tissue on this one as well to make it be able to... Well, I don't want big creatures if it's going to get hot, so fat tissue may backfire a little bit. I really want it to become cold. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw intelligence in here. There'll be a little less food, but it's going to add 2 blips of cold. Because I don't want it to become any hotter, especially since I would love to do great things with fat tissue. As long as I don't grow beyond size 4, we're not going to have a problem. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to fat tissue this guy. So this sort of gets to change the rules, because normally you can only eat as much as you have population. This lets us eat up to our body size as well. So both of our creatures are actually really playing with the default rules in an interesting way. I'm going to throw cooperative over here. So when this guy eats, some food will be scavenged over here. And it will be meat food, but that is totally okay and allowed. I might just raise population, or I could add 1 more critter here. No one else has taken their action yet because I'm first, so I have no idea if someone's all of a sudden going to get very big and be a threatening carnivore. I would like to draw more cards, but I think it might be a good idea. I'm going to go in and big in this species to be maybe a little bit less vulnerable to carnivores, and so you can store more fat. Tell you what, let's bring them all the way up to speed 4, or size 4. So I'm not going to draw as many cards. Again, I'm not saying this is the correct play, but this is what I'm going to do here. At least it's going to get to showcase some cool things. There's a lot of traits going on this guy. Oh wow, growing the population a lot. And he's got the hard shell, which I'm not really going to be able to bypass. That is going to be a very solid species. Now, my carnivore is not very big. Oh man, it's going to get hot again. Okay. Now, it's only species with actual size 5 to 6, not the ones that count as 5 to 6 for defensive purposes. We do get a lot of vegetable matter here. Now, I don't tend to like to go carnivore. I don't tend to find it very strong. Okay, desertification triggered. Don't add food this round. All species body size greater than 1 lose 1 body size. Right, that's the other thing. I wasn't looking at the special events. I said, oh, I'm going to talk about it later, and then I didn't talk about it later. What happens is when you set up the game, you draw 1 card from the hot events and 1 card from the cold events. And the card will tell you where to go. It doesn't actually show you this in the game, but this desertification card would have said tropical. So you put it under tropical, and when you land on it, it triggers this. So there's no food in the middle at all, which actually makes my carnivore with cooperative insanely good. Because there's no food left over. Is this going to kill all the... There are no other carnivores. I'm the only one who's going to get to eat this round. This is amazing. Now, after the round ends, a new hot event card will be drawn and placed somewhere. So, ideally what I want to do is eliminate species. So I could attack this one. That's totally okay, but it's got 2 populations, so it won't eliminate it. Whereas maybe I'll just eliminate both of these guys. And we've got cooperative, so we'll spread the food over here. No one is going to be able to eat. Although this one here had long neck, so it actually gets 1 free food just from the bank immediately. So this species is going to not go extinct. It'll lose 3 of its population, but it won't go extinct. Oh, it's also hibernating, so it gets to prevent 2 population due to starvation. So actually he's in pretty good shape. Yeah, he's got horns and the shell. It's a little bit redundant, but sure. So yeah, let's do this. I mean, he's going to be in good shape, so let's go ahead and eat as many of his species as possible. Both my species are completely fed, and I got to store 1 piece of food on fat tissue as well. Yeah, that was a devastating turn for people. Oh, you had some food? Oh, you had long neck over here. Okay. Did we get a new event? There we go. Okay. Volcanic explosion or eruption will be available, will happen at Scorching if it gets there, which I would rather it not, probably. So I'm thinking about spending another intelligent here. Intelligent's a really strong trait. I don't like throwing it away. Unless I want to put in cooling frills, but it does help. Oh, there's a typo. That's interesting. Prevent 3 population losses due to heat. And you do count as bigger for determining size. This actually might be good to put on our body fat creature. Basically make it immune to heat loss. Okay, I'm going to throw intelligent in here. Now, I'm going to be last, so I will get to sort of get a sense of what everyone else is going to do here. So he's just beefing up this creature a lot. And both these guys are. Now, most likely, I'm going to have problems feeding with my carnivore here, unless I do some crazy stuff with them. What you can do, though, is you can always replace the trait. If I recall correctly. There you go. So he could become not a carnivore all of a sudden. If I feel like the carnivore is not going to be in a winning situation, which might be the case. I don't know what people are doing. So, I mean, climbing is hard to bypass unless I was intelligent, which I'm not, or had my own climbing, which I don't have. This could be a ton of defensive stuff. This guy we already know we don't want to attack. This one might be playing some defensive things. I think this might be a good time to stop being a carnivore. Now, we know there's not going to be a ton of food in there, but we can do some interesting things. So I can replace carnivore with foraging. because that way he gets extra food, and we know we want him to eat because he's cooperative and can change things over that way, which seems pretty good. I can also put symbiosis on this. This species won't be able to get attacked if the one to the right is bigger, which it is. I think I want to put the cooling frills on this guy to make him, in case someone else plays a carnivore card, which is possible, although unlikely because no one really built up their body. But it means if it gets hotter, if it goes all the way to hot, I would normally need to lose 2 population off this guy, but not with the cooling frills. I think what I want to do with the rest of my cards is grow my population. I think what I'm going to do is maybe grow this one to 4, because he can just feed twice then. And he will get the extra food, and then both times he feeds, he will send food over here, and I think that's going to be good. Now, I'm going to be the last to go. As long as I feed 1 time with this, we're going to be good. If I can feed twice, then I'm going to be thrilled. Although, I know there'll be less food because I put a -2. If it stays tropical, which is possible, we'll build bonus food. It's quite a lot in there. It does get hotter, all the way to hot. Which I'm fine with, because I should be immune to that issue. And I don't think anyone else is big, so actually no one's bothered by that, but we really don't want it to get scorching. There's 26 food. I suspect we'll be fine. And what happens with the body fat is at the start of your turn, the food goes here. So this is already fed. You can see the auto feed is going off because they're like, well, clearly you want to eat with this one. Like, it's not even a question. And also, maybe the auto feed goes off when it's guaranteed that everyone will be filled. I don't know what it is. That might be the trigger, actually. The thing is, if it switches to cold, then we get glacial thaw, which makes it a little hotter. It's not actually so bad. Although cold will kill off the little creatures. I don't know if this will double trigger after feeding. It switches to cold. So I don't think the cold population loss is going to trigger. Because I think it reveals the card, it changes the temperature, so we get the scorching effect. And then we'd lose a big... Well, everyone is going to lose a ton. Everyone of any size is going to lose 4 population. Which we might want to get some cooling frills here in case it gets hotter. Now, I'm going to load up pack hunting to try to fight things from becoming hotter. I got another cooperative, which we can chain. See, if we do this, it'll chain the feeding to this species over here. Yeah, this could be attack if it doesn't need to feed, which actually the body fat one is basically going to be immune to being attacked all the time. And if it did go to Scorching and lose 4 population, we prevent 3 from here, Burrowing we prevent another one, which could be an interesting idea. Now this one's going to die unless, if I do this and this, we'll still lose 1, but we'll have the population. I think I'll do that. Just as a protection in case it goes all the way to Scorching. And then he said to play his cards. Oh, he just plays 1, that's it. Intelligence. Alright. Okay, it's gonna get colder. So just back to tropical. Which I don't think is gonna affect anyone. Well, maybe this guy here. He's pretty large, I think. Oh no, he's not. He just has a lot of population. So, I want to eat with this guy. Ditto. Wait. Did I not give cooperative to this one ever? I think I got... Did I get confused with symbiosis before? Maybe I just put cooperative on him? I thought I'd put double cooperative. Or did I accidentally use it to play a creature or embiggen? I might have embiggened my population or something at some point. That is entirely possible. Yeah, so sorry about that. I must have misspoken somewhere along the way. I have no idea how I'm doing points-wise. I know I've got 18 food in my bag, and technically you can keep track of everyone else, but wasn't going to do that. Alright, so we're currently tropical. We've got plant eaters. We're not too big. We actually wouldn't mind if it swung back to hot. I don't know if it would screw anyone up. No, no one's actually big enough for hot to be a problem. I think I might... Okay, I'm gonna be second to feed, and I do have some food sharing stuff. I could throw heavy fur in there just to generate less food. I don't know, I think I'm just gonna get rid of carnivore. I don't think I want to be a carnivore here. So I didn't put much food in, and it might theoretically get hot, but that's gonna be okay. I definitely don't want to play heavy fur on anyone. You can save cards between turns, by the way, but... I don't think I will. I think I'll do this. I might throw a warning call here, so neither one of these two species can be attacked. Oh, this still has pack hunting. So what I could do is replace pack hunting with defensive herding, which means that, yeah, the carnivore must be larger in population than in species. Which, you know, we're not immune to, but what I could do is buff up this population a bunch. Although it doesn't actually have a benefit... Oh, no, it does have foraging. So it actually does eat pretty quickly. Let's see, size 3. But it's got the cooling frills. And it's currently only tropical. So we can go to hot over here. Let me increase the body size. Well, I could play it safe and just increase the population. Both ways let me, you know, eat extra food per turn. The population at least gives me a buffer, in case I screw something up with the temperature calculations. Or somehow vulnerable to being attacked by carnivores. The amount of food you get when you eat is based on the size of the creature you're eating. So eating a large creature gives you a bunch of food in one feed. Weirdly, sometimes that's something you might want to avoid, because you'd rather eat small things so that you can eat a lot of population off of people and really hurt them more. But it very much depends. Okay, so we're back to hot, which I'm fine with. It's the scorching that's a little bit terrifying, but might be okay. Especially if I, well, it's every population will lose 4. Yeah, I don't know, actually, that's kind of terrifying. Okay, either way I'm going to end up with enough food. Maybe I will eat here first. Because the sharing... Yeah, I'm still bothered by the fact that I thought this was going to be okay. So yeah, this guy can't be attacked because this guy's bigger. This guy can't be attacked because of warning call. Of course, intelligence will just ignore all of that. Okay. I'd like this guy to survive, but I score more points and maintain... I think I'm going to have to eat with this guy. So I think this guy's going to die off. Oh no, we get one more action. Well, either way, stuff is going to die. I think I'll eat with him to keep the extra species around so I can draw an extra card. Now, if a species with traits dies, you do get to draw a card for every trait. You don't get to draw a card for the species itself. But, like, if something killed this one, I would get to draw 4 cards from it. Okay. It's currently hot. I probably don't want it to get scorching. I'm just going to throw away this carnivore, because I don't think I'm going back there. You plant food if the watering hole is empty, which does give you an interesting bypass. Okay, for the sake of argument, I might create a new species over here. And then I could give you warning call to protect. Although this thing needs to be fairly immune to attacks itself, so we could put like a hard shell on it. And then maybe I could do this. Grow it to size 2. That way 1 feed action will be very efficient over there. like the idea of throwing migratory on something. Maybe I'll throw migratory here. And then we don't have to worry about feeding it if the hole is otherwise going to be empty. And decide boosting this guy, because these guys can eat fairly efficiently. Or, if I'm worried that I'm not actually going to be able to maintain size, there's no carnivores. I wonder if the odds of someone developing carnivore, because scavenger would be nice. But yeah, if I'm worried about not being able to feed everyone, then I can just boost some size somewhere. Or I could just hold on to this for another turn, and then deploy it then. If it goes back to tropical, there'll be plenty of food, most likely. Where am I in the order? Well, I'm first to go. Alright, I'm going to assume I'm going to eat twice with this guy. So I'm going to grow this population. Okay. Yeah, being first is really nice to be able to get maximum food. And yeah, if we run out of food, this guy doesn't need to eat, because he's going to get the food for free. So he's lowest priority. Because no matter what, he's going to get to eat. The long necks are also eating some stuff for free. Horns and carnivores. And it does get colder to tropical, which the population loss doesn't do anything. There's going to be lots of extra food in the middle. I think this animation could be a little faster. That's on fast speed. No, not main menu. Sorry, misclick. I will be able to continue the game, though. I don't know, I might have to redo some clicks. I don't know at what stage that saves in. I was just trying to close that. I missed the fact that there was an X. Okay. So it still has the traits played. It's just going to do the food animation again. Alright, good. Perfect. That's actually quite good. Except again, I'll complain about the animation being slower than I would maybe like for this. Because it like does a two-step, right? For some reason it puts the food here. And then it puts it into the middle. I'm a little confused as to why that is, but sure. And it's going to do the tropical animation, which there's nothing to kill. Yeah, nope. Again, the gray numbers here, that's their effective size from defense. It's not their actual size. Oh, wow. Yeah, it gets to feed automatically if there's no scavengers that can go after it. Although it is full now, which is nice. I need to make sure this can eat. Oh yeah, and it's got foraging as well, so it gets double value. We'll lose one of those. It's gonna have to be okay. And then migrating gets to eat for free over here. So yeah, we lost the pop. Decent feeding round for us. We're gonna be last here. Oh, and it is the last round. It's when the deck basically empties. There's some reshuffling and there's some rule for it. I can't remember in real life how it works. I'm going to be acting last, so I want there to be as much food as possible in there. So if there are no carnivores, I get to feed this. So I'm going to put that. Or if there's nothing that can eat this, which theoretically is going to be the case with the hard shell and everything. Although you've grown to population 6. You haven't replaced any traits, though. I'm not expecting any carnivores to suddenly appear, but I could consider growing this so that he literally can't be attacked. And what I can do is grow this to population 2, because it should be able to get 2 food from migratory. So you have 1 free plant food. do get, okay, so at the end of the game, you get 1 point for every population and 1 point for every trait card. So trait cards are worth as much as population, except for the fact that population lets you eat more. Tempted to do this and then boost its population, because we can still get some feeding with cooperative over here. I could just not worry about migratory and take advantage of foraging, but I think what I'm going to do is just buff some population. I'm going to hope there's a lot of food in there. Or I could do a sudden change back to carnivore, but most of the species I think are probably fairly defended. Well, he's first to act, so he does have some little baby species kicking around. Okay, you should be able to eat for free. So you should hopefully get 2 free feedings and do this. This is only if no carnivores can attack it, which is likely the case. And even if it can be attacked, like if the carnivore gets full, at some point this just stops needing to be fed manually. So it still takes food from the middle though with this. So we could still run out of food, but overall that's not too bad. Maybe I'll grow you, because you will get 1 free from the food. We're going to try to feed twice from the middle, which will fill you up. I'm just going to grow a population somewhere, just in the hopes that we can get extra points out of it. We could have done something differently and put another trait down as well for points, but I'm going to try to be greedy. Alright, that's actually pretty good on food. It is going to get hotter, which is actually more food than if it had just become warm. And yeah, I guess with things being so hot, really don't have to worry about carnivores too much. No one went carnivore. So yeah, the only problem is I'm going to be last to eat here. But this one will feed for free. It does that in addition to my other species eating. So I don't have to feed this one, and then we want to feed these 2 as much as possible, and I don't think there's any particular preference to order. Well, I suppose, yeah, as long as they feed once each. So let's get some food in here, because I want to keep these trait cards in play. And this one's already going to stay in play because of the body fat. So now it doesn't really matter who I feed, as long as it maximizes how much population I save. So yeah, the Nocturnal. You'll go 1 more time after this. Except that there won't be any food left. Alright. And then we get the 2 food over here at least. So we lose a little bit of population. Oh, I don't know. I don't think I did a very good job for a lot of this game, but we'll see. Did have a lot of population. So yeah, trait cards, I got the most. I have the highest population. I had some meat. And actually, I had the most vegetables. Oh my god, I crushed it! Never mind. I thought I was not doing that well, but apparently I did pretty well. Hey, new discoveries. I think these are, yeah, sort of daily achievements and things like that to let you rank up in the game, because it looks quite cool. You know, you can level up, and I think you unlock new portraits and things for multiplayer, which I like. There's a lot of little knick-knacky things that you can do. That is nice. And again, the campaign's quite cool. So they have, like, themed battles against particular types, like it'll be you versus 3 carnivores or something like that, for example. I think it adds some interesting replay value, and then yeah, unlocks new AIs that you can play against if you want to shake up your AI game rather than just play with, like, you know, normal AI that just tries to do the best thing all the time. But maybe it represents your friends, right? Maybe you've got some friends that always goes carnivore and someone who always goes super defensive, and you know, you can put them in and see what that's like and practice against these different game balances. Folks, that is it for the quick little look-see at Evolution Climate. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.